So we are about 24 hours as of me recording this video. It's about 12:30 here, so give or take. And I would like to just, do some positive posting when it comes to Dokkan Battle. Everyone's so spun up and negative, and everyone's afraid to say anything positive about the game. So what are the things that Dokkan has done well in 2025? And if you are out there and you're interested, highlight some of this for me. What is your favorite thing that Dokkan has done in 2025? The only thing I will say though is, just because it would be too easy, you can't mention Vegito. You can't be like, well, we finally got Vegito. That's too easy. What is an applicable thing, whether content wise, drops, releases, tickets, free to play stuff, whatever the case may be? What is one great thing you felt Dokkan has succeeded in this year? I would like to start this off by just saying that I think, for me, the animation quality has been pretty high in Dokkan overall. Obviously, we're coming out of a 6 LR anniversary, so and of those LRs, there are 2 that people consider on the lower end. But if I'm really pressed to think of like a solid, like what has Dokkan really succeeded at this year, I will say that I love how much Dokkan is playing with color gradients. I love how much the animation style tends to err on the side of like the actual show. Things like even this Vegeta Ki Blast Super, like the colors are constantly shifting. Yeah, here we're in like a deep blue and it's more like the movie. Dokkan has just looked phenomenal. One of the most exciting things to me, and this is another great shot. Oh, it's gorgeous. One of the most important things for me when it comes to where Dokkan is going in the future, and I made a video about this if you want to see that. It was titled something with what ifs, or the most important thing to elevate Dokkan. Iku made a video with JJK talking about, does JJK Phantom Parade do anything to elevate the IP of Jujutsu Kaisen? And to me, and well, okay, first of all, I think that he landed on not really. Same thing with the Bleach Resonance, because Bleach Resonance was, and he landed on JJK doesn't really. I would say with Dokkan, it's hits and misses, right? Because the issue that Dokkan has really when it comes to this conversation is they don't often do it, and I would love more than anything for Dokkan to lean into their what if bag. If we're not going to do Dragon Ball, Super Dragon Ball Heroes anymore, then why can't Dokkan fill that space? There's no reason it can't. Obviously Akatsuki is beholden to companies, Bamco, Toei, Shueisha, etc. That is the real reason, but man, if they got the go ahead to just like, yo, Dokkan, make what you want to make, I think it would be really positive for the game, because their animation style is really coming together. It's really showing flashes of true greatness, and it's been the most exciting thing I think from this anniversary or this year so far. One of the big holdovers is this active skill from Gogeta. I'm just going through a few of them that I've seen. Yeah, this would be my big one. I think positive, Dokkan has been really solid with its animation quality, the splendor, camera angles, the colors. I don't know, I feel like their smear framework is so good too. Yeah, this shot here is a reference to the old was it the first anniversary. It's great, man. It's great. But let's go over to another facet. One thing you got to talk about if it comes to positive things in Dokkan Battle in 2025, and you've heard me rail against the Festival of Battles, I don't think it's particularly well made. I think that it was a concept that was interesting to attempt. As for if its execution really ever landed, I'm going to say no. That said, one thing is indisputable, and that is I prefer when dev teams try something versus not trying anything. Even if it's a fuck up, even if it kind of like, makes this period of the game less interesting to me, or this period. I've played a lot of Path of Exile, and in Path of Exile, people ham GGG, which is the company that owns Path of Exile. The thing about Path of Exile and GGG though is they are gonna try some shit, and if they fuck it up, then at least they tried something. Versus a game like Diablo, run by Blizzard, where Blizzard just so often doesn't try anything. Blizzard's gonna feed you the same thing over and over again. Festival of Battles, for all of its problems, is not a failure to conceptualize something. It's just a failure to deliver. And I think that getting one-off event like this, as them sort of doing a little foray into what could be interesting, what could be possible for Dokkan, is always positive. That said, the other thing I would find positive is just big sweeping red zones this year. Very, very nice. Very, very interesting to actually get like solid competition for these units. I think that they sort of led off with the more interesting facets of it. Things like Jiren, things like, this is the wrong Jiren, by the way. Things like Jiren, though, things like Vegeta and Goku, and things like the Golden Frieza from before he got power crept, right? The Golden Frieza who would just kill you first turn if you didn't get enough hits in on him. Really interesting. All of them pretty different. The failure to deliver here was mostly these early phases, which are just so nothing. But I do think that Jiren himself is formidable and fun, has a lot of those mechanics that we want to see. Just maybe doesn't hit slightly hard enough to warrant being too afraid of him long term. And the Vegeta and Goku fights themselves are nice sandboxes for big HP sponging fights. Goku can catch you, especially once he builds up. He has the chance to catch your support characters, even though he might not catch characters like Vegito, right? So yeah, in terms of overall content, and that is not even to say that we haven't even mentioned Battle Hard and Formidable Foes. Arguably the single best piece of content they have added to the Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle in, count it, since Red Zone maybe. A great celebration of the game's history, making a sort of Super Battle Road. Making a sort of Super Battle Road event that is very, very fun to test out. Strong, formidable bosses that are immediately challenging. That way, you're not really sitting around wondering like, oh, am I just gonna get here and die? We've got critting, we've got AoEs over here. It's just like, it was a great choice to actually introduce some of these mechanics, some of these dominant, powerful mechanics in a format that isn't just wait until you get to the end of the fight and then hope you don't die to Vegeta, right? Hope you don't die to Gogeta, or hope you don't die to Daima, Goku, and Glorio. So yeah, that's another thumbs up from me. And last but not least, I just want to say that in regarding the positive traits of 2025 so far with Dokkan, I really like the choice of characters in these celebrations. It has been a long time since we've gotten a hit. I think hit makes the sort of perfect DFE if you're not going to go full LR. In this case, hit not being a domain character, which I expect his LR to be, is extremely important because villains do not need more and more LRs, right? I think characters like Pycon are an exceptional choice because, let's be honest, Pycon is the de facto yellow coin LR type of character pick. He's just not really needed for big, showy celebrations. He's the perfect thing to just fit into filler celebrations. It doesn't waste animations. It doesn't waste a slot that you might have needed for another character. If you're a fan of, if you're a fan of like Kefla, Pycon's not really stealing her slot by being a yellow coin LR. I think even though it's possible that she ends up being the yellow coin for this major celebration, this Golden Week, that is certainly a major slot and not something like a filler banner. And Kefla is like deserving of something major, right? Something like a perfect cell, and I'm not talking about their kits, I'm not talking about the strength, and I'm not talking about anything like that. I just mean like purely where does the character fall? Are they a nice choice for the slot they're in? And it looks like we've got Dokkan Wiki. Dokkan Wiki's been so weird lately. I don't know if anyone's been having that, but certainly a great character for the spot he's in. While I do think that Cell is deserving of like a proper LR and things like that, I'm not really mad about him existing in this space. Nice animations, didn't really use too much. I think Dokkan's done a good job of holding back on what animations they use as well this year. They aren't just like blowing their full wad on like, oh, we got a character, so we got to put every single thing they do in. Like, Goku's another great example of that, where he isn't from the most hyped part of Dragon Ball. His animations are great for what they are. OG Dragon Ball is a great looking show, and they managed to capture that quite a bit. They always do a great job with like the text fonts and like just overall style of these characters. But yeah, another great example of like using a sort of underrepresented character and getting in their, you know, unique animations. I think that we're just going to continue to see more and more of that. Even this Vegeta is so obviously primed for another like LR. Like, people are probably thinking, oh, the next Daima Vegeta, like Daima Vegeta's got to be the adult and he's got to be like the mini, or he's got to be like adult and he's got to be like an LR. They could literally do an LR mini Daima Vegeta still, right? Like with the same holdovers, like the same style, because they didn't use any of his like really big stuff. He fought Tamagami rather. Sorry, I was thinking about Golden Kamui. He fought Tamagami number 2 for a while, so they've still got plenty of animations to use. They didn't really use the thing where he's like beating him up and then he like places his hand on his back or anything. The thing that Legends got, or the thing that Sparking Zero just got. So a great choice to just slide him in, even if he doesn't end up being the best character. As for that, I think the anniversary did falter with some of its choices in the strictest sense. I don't think we needed Evo Ken Vegeta and Go Frieza in the same celebration. But do I like the idea of a Go Frieza as an anniversary unit? Yeah. You know, that's a final shot of the anime, essentially. The anime ended with that shot. Gogeta here and Vegito here were phenomenal. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, again, a phenomenal character worthy of an anniversary slot. And, I mean, it's just peak, man. Like, I think they really cooked, especially on characters like Super Saiyan 3 into Super Saiyan 4 Goku, who was underrepresented, if not represented at all in Dokkan, as well as just being a valuable asset. So much use out of this character. A jack of all trades and great animations to boot. Again, more color grading, so good. Yeah, I think those are 3 weighty things I can talk about. I think Dokkan has had some fumbles here. It's definitely like going into Golden Week, I'm not super high on what Golden Week is showing us already, but am I don't know. Am I dooming? Am I not going to play anymore? No. At most, I'll summon for hit, and then I will, you know, I'll summon for hit, and then I'll probably skip Goku. Unless he really impresses me once I start seeing people showcase him. Yeah. Maybe the part 2 will convince me. That's going to do it for today. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the club. We all going to make it, and catch me later for some summons. Peace.